I think it's going to end in tears. The new Bombshells coming in looked stunning. The boy looked like a Harrison knockoff, if you remember Harrison, the one who coupled up with Destiny. And the girl just looked stunning. She did look stunning. So I can foresee tears in the future, in the near future. And sadly, Hannah is nervous. And then bringing in Meg was amazing. It was amazing. It boosted morale of the islanders because everybody was feeling low, given everything that had happened with Huda and Jeremiah. So it's nice that someone was able to come in and sort of give the girls a wake up call and sort of lighten the mood. I really loved that for them, and I'm happy they got to distress. I can't wait to see what happens. And the man of the moment was Nick. His little dance was the cutest ever. I really loved it. Anyway, hey there. Thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island USA, Season 7, Episode 15. So, Jalen is gone, and I personally don't agree with Jalen going. As you know, if you've been on my channel for a while, I have called out Taylor because from the moment he said he is not romantically, he doesn't have a spark with Olandria, he hasn't done anything in my books to prove he does. So, I don't think, this guy should have gone home. I think Huda should have gone home for her mental health. Anyway, you have Taylor, Olandria, and Huda sit down for a conversation. And so Taylor's saying that the reason why he stepped for Huda was because he was trying to give her a second chance. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He stood behind Huda because he knew if he stood behind Jalen, there was a possibility Jalen was going to steal Olandria. And if he steals Olandria, then Taylor has no one because he's got no other romantic connection or he's got no other couple that he's sort of exploring at the moment. So that's the reason why, as far as I'm concerned. I appreciate him for telling Huda that the two of you are not compatible. You need to keep it stepping. Because everyone can see that Huda and Jeremiah are not it. Huda needs a man who's able to stand up to her. And sadly, Jeremiah was not standing up to her. And this is why she got away with as much and was able to say whatever she wanted to say. Had he stood up to her and said, enough is enough, I'm not tolerating this, and set boundaries with her, then she wouldn't have been name calling. I love that she was told no more name calling and you need to move on, leave Jeremiah alone. Do I think that's going to happen? That's going to take a while for her to move on. And sadly, if she matches with somebody else, if they don't fit her little box, she's going to kick off the same way she kicked off with Jeremiah, because that side of her will still be there. And whatever happens with Jeremiah and Iris, she's always going to be sort of a shadow hovering over them until either one of them go home. You have Ace go and sit with Shirley. He is saying he's happy to be in a couple with Shirley. It's about time. We are all fed up of the gestures. Now we want to see what happens. Do I think there's a romantic connection? I think there's a lot of flirting. There's a lot of sort of sexual attraction, but I don't know whether there's emotional depth to have a relationship because he's 22, she's 27, and he's lack of maturity has shown in the way that he's dealt with a couple of the situations in the villa. So I'm side-eyeing him and I'm hopeful that, they will be able to make it work until Shirley gets her person come in and she can recouple with that person. You have Olandria and Taylor go to soul ties. Personally, I don't get what this girl can't see. The fact that he's not cuddling her and they're lying side by side in a church position doesn't make sense to me. If it's a romantic couple, if he's saying he's happy to be back in a couple with her, why can't Olandria see this? That this man is really not that into her. Yes, he said he's happy to be in a couple, but what else? We can't see anything unless it's the edit that's showing us this. That couple doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense. And I feel sorry for my girl because I feel like she should have sent him home. You have Austin and Amaya. They're very cutesy. I think Austin pacifies Amaya for some reason because he's so calm and collected. She is able to sort of calm down herself. Unlike Huda, she was with a person that appeared calm and it just triggered her more. And so I'm hopeful that Amaya will now start to get a positive edit because she's in a couple with Austin. Austin seems happy to be in a couple with her. I think there is a romantic attraction there because we all remember when they kissed on the dock, so I can't wait to see what happens. You have Jeremiah go for a conversation with Iris. And I didn't like this. I don't know why Huda felt the need to eavesdrop. It's not necessary for her to eavesdrop. So they were discussing the fact that they are now an official couple, the fact that Jeremiah stepped forward for her. I love that she showed appreciation and said, I appreciate you for doing that. I want you to know that there will be no name calling. She was more like telling him that there will be no toxic behavior here that will not be tolerated. We're going to be mature adults. If we have a problem, we're going to sit down and speak about it. And so for Huda to be listening in and then come in and interrupt them, personally, I didn't see the point of the conversation between Huda and Jeremiah. I have a feeling Huda saw that Jeremiah was actually connecting with Iris, and so she decided to go in and sort of remind him of what he's losing or what he's lost, more or less, because that conversation wasn't needed. She could have slept on it and then they could have spoken the next day. So for her to say, I'm hurt, it's like, yes, you're hurt, but he feels disrespected because of all the name calling, the negative name calling. You called him out of his name so many times, we've lost count. So the idea that you're only worried that your heart is broken and you're not worried about what you've done to the other person doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense, and I don't get how she can't grasp that. I love that Taylor was able to come and pull her up on it and say, let's go. So Taylor tried to pull her out and she said, well, I just need to say this one time and then we're done. And you could see that everyone in the villa is fed up. You had poor Iris go and vent to Amaya that, I was having a conversation and Huda came and pulled Jeremiah away. Jeremiah just sat there because he had no other choice. He had no other choice but to sit there and watch and just listen to what she was saying. And I felt sorry for him because no matter what he said or did, at the end of the day, he was always going to be the bad guy. Do I think he instigated some of her bad behaviors? Yes, because now she's come out as the bad guy. Because if he had broken up with her, then people would have said, he's dumping a single mom because she is a single mom. So it's very complicated to know exactly what was going on in that couple. I'm happy that they got to the end of it. The fact that she tried to kiss him afterwards, I didn't like, because she hugged him, and then when he hugged her and he sort of leaned back, she went to try and kiss him and he sort of pulled his head back. And I don't know whether she gets a rise from the toxicity or whether the kiss was supposed to be a final kiss goodbye. I didn't quite get that and I didn't understand it. The fact that Jeremiah then went and sat with the guys and he was just letting them know that, they've had a conversation, it was peaceful and it's over. Everyone is fed up. Even those that stood behind her, that only stood behind it just because she's an OG girl. Otherwise, they were all fed up. They were all fed up and they can't take anymore. You have the girls in the changing room having a conversation about it and saying, we don't understand why she needed to speak to him. I love that Sierra was able to say, if she does it again, I'm not saving her. And I don't get why Sierra, Amaya, and Iris saved her, as I said yesterday, because she was horrible to them when they came in. So the idea that they saved her still is something that I don't quite understand. Maybe it was girl code. Maybe they were just making sure someone stuck up for them if they were ever in trouble. Kudos to Amaya for actually saying to Huda, let's not continue with this. And hopefully Huda is listening. Hopefully she's listening. Because Jeremiah has already told her that if you see me doing anything, know that it's not a slap in your face. It's just I'm moving on and I'm trying to create a connection with somebody else. And I hope somebody comes in for you. Jeremiah has checked out. He has checked out. Sadly for Huda, she's still holding on and she's still got this list of grievances. I don't know who's going to help her address that. I really don't. Anyway, the islanders get ready for bed, and Ace is finally in a bed with Shirley, and he's sleeping close to his guys Taylor and Nick, so he's in a good space. Hannah. Production is messy. Why would they show us that? Why would they feel a need to show us that? And it's barely 2 days since Charlie left. So in the morning, the islanders wake up. I love production that they put Huda and Jeremiah at opposite ends of the bedroom. I think they just wanted peace and they didn't want her waking up in the middle of the night if she sees them cuddling and kicking off or something. Or maybe, I don't know. Anyway, the islanders get up. Everyone is happy. They're all in romantic couples. You have people go and make breakfast, so the guys are making breakfast for their girls. And then Huda actually went downstairs to make herself her own breakfast. And I was pleasantly surprised. She made herself something to eat. And then you had, Jeremiah was also in there making breakfast. And it was interesting that once he made breakfast for himself and for Iris, he then carry the chair for Iris away, I think, from where Huda was sitting. That way he could sort of sit out of her line of vision. Sorry, line of vision. So it was interesting because he already told her that if you see me do anything, don't think I'm doing it to spite you. Just know that I'm just carrying on as I normally would. Huda seemed peaceful, and the villa actually seemed peaceful. You then have Shirley having a conversation with Olandria about their couples and how they feel the night went. Shirley wasn't happy that she didn't get as much cuddles as she wanted, but she got a couple of kisses. And it's like, with the way Ace has been carrying on, you would have expected him to cuddle her all night. So the idea that he didn't do anything in bed makes me question, is he still playing games, or is he still open to the idea that another bombshell might come in that he might like? On her part, Olandria says, she was happy to be back in a bed with Taylor, even though they didn't share kisses. And it's like, girl, wake up. Wake up and smell the roses. This man is not feeling you the way you think he's feeling you, because at the end of the day, the way he was saying he's ecstatic to be back with you. Why didn't he kiss you? Why didn't he do anything with you in bed? I'm not saying they should have had sex like Hannah and Pepe, but still, there needs to be more there. The girls were having a conversation about, do you feel familiar with your person? Do you want him to kiss you all the time? Do you want him to do this? And it's like, if Ace were a true friend, he would tell his friend to be honest with Olandria and tell her where he stands and see if they can work on whatever is not causing the spark, instead of him just sitting there and keeping quiet and watching his friend lead someone astray. And then you had a conversation that I really liked. You had Sierra pull Huda for a conversation, and she was honest with her and told her, last night I was conflicted in whether to stand behind you or Jalen, just because I didn't know whether you'd be able to make the necessary changes needed to move on from Jeremiah. There is a Huda before Jeremiah, there's a Huda after Jeremiah, yes. There's a Huda before child, there's a Huda after she's had a child. And Huda needs to learn to regulate her emotions. That's the problem. She needs to learn to regulate her emotions. So I'm happy that she was able to have someone have a quiet conversation with her away from the spectators in the villa, to sort of try and get her to regroup and sort of pick herself up, dust herself up, and keep it stepping. If a person comes in, amazing. If the person doesn't come in, it's still amazing. She can go home. She's got her lovely daughter and look after her daughter. Huda was saying, I don't like the fact that things seem to be going in his favor. Things are not going in his favor. She said this. She said something similar last night. Or he got to recouple. He got to go on a date. And it's like, America chose him to recouple. The producer sent him on the date. The only thing he did was pick Iris. So I don't get how she feels like he is getting the better end of the stick. Jeremiah was also having a conversation with Iris. Iris seems very calm and very peaceful. So it's good for him because it allows him the peace of mind that he needs. It allows him to sort of regroup. It's not like he's sitting there and holding her hand and cuddling her and kissing her. No, he's being respectful. He's maintaining a safe distance. That way it doesn't seem like he's rubbing his new relationship in Huda's face. And I hope Huda sees this and recognizes this. Am I the only one who thinks that the conversation between Shirley and Austin was producer driven? Because they could have easily had it the night before. They could have easily ended things then. But the fact that they had to sleep on it and then come back to the following morning as they had this small emotional connection doesn't make sense. Even the end of it shows you that these are two people that were resigned to the fact that they're in a couple, and the people that they want are with somebody else, and that somebody else is holding on just because he has his own plan. I have a feeling that Ace came in with a plan of what he wanted to do, especially when he saw Shirley. I have a feeling he wanted to explore other multiple connections, and then when he was good and ready, he would come back to Shirley and say, oh, but I did try and explore connections. They didn't work out, but I did try my best. That's the impression that I get. Sadly, Austin and Amaya, including Shirley, were being held in this plan until he was good and ready, which doesn't make sense to me. You have the islanders just lounging around and hanging around when they receive a message. The first message reads, Islanders, who's ready to turn up the heat in tonight's filler games? Another message comes in that reads, girls, I've left some hot girl summer swimwear in the dressing room, and everybody would, or you would assume everybody would know. I'll see you soon, love. And then the last message, so there were 4 messages, was Meg the Stallion. Everyone was ecstatic. everyone was ecstatic because this, I think, is the first time they've had, a major star come on the show. I don't remember seeing anyone in past seasons, so they must have had a big budget because of how successful last season was. So I'm happy that they get entertainment because in the UK they normally get an A-lister to come and perform, or they normally get performers from a celebrity. So I'm happy that also the American version is getting a chance to enjoy this side, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. So Meg came in, and it really showed that she'd been watching the show because she was able to call out people about some of the stuff that they had done, and also discuss some of the things she had seen, like Charlie being sent home. She said R.I.P. Charlie, and I think this will put a smile on his face, knowing that somebody knows who he is and was able to watch him. So I love that for him. The girls were ecstatic. They were ecstatic. So they came out of the girls' changing rooms, and Meg obviously was amongst the girls, and the boys were excited. I've never seen so much excitement on Taylor's face. This is the most excited I've seen him. And Shirley was having the time of her life just being close to Meg. And so I really loved it. I thought it was cute that at least they were able to boost the Islanders' morale given everything that had transpired the past couple of days. Anyway, so Meg came in and they had to do this challenge whereby there was going to be a winner and a loser. The winners would get to get an Islander. So if it's the guy that won, then they would get a girl Islander. If it was the boys, if it was vice versa, if it was the girls that won, then they would get a boy. So first off, there was a twerk off. Everybody did the best they could with the equipment that they had. Really, with the equipment that they had, because I was pleasantly surprised with some of the effort that was made. Because there were people that I was not expecting to be as good as they were, and then there were people that were just like, "Oh my god, they need to stop. It's a bit too much." Um, who stood out for me? I think Olandria did an amazing job. Huda was always going to do an amazing job. I think some of it she went a bit too far. Even Meg was a bit side eyeing, especially when she opened her legs and she started tapping herself. That was a bit too much. I don't think that was necessary. And Nick was the man of the moment. Yes, he didn't win, but he tried his best. He tried his best. Ace tried to prove that he is a dancer, but he wasn't dancing the dance that was needed, so it didn't make sense. And so, because of that, you had Hoda and Olandria won their bit, and then you had for the guys, Taylor and Austin won their bit, even though they didn't do much. I think it was meant to be a tie that way spirits would be lifted. So because of that, they then had to do a limbo. And I was surprised. I was surprised because with some of the girls, it seemed as though they were just forfeiting just for the sake of it. You had Sierra and what's her name? Oh my God, Iris. They came out, which left one person from the girls' team. And so Meg was able to say, we can't continue to have this because there's only one person left, whereas the guys are still all there. So then they had to build their person. And the girls built theirs faster than the boys. I think the girls really want Huda to find someone, so they were very fast at doing that. And the boys sadly lost out because they couldn't notice that their hands were not sort of aligned. There were two hands on one side, which meant that the first person was revealed, and that was TJ. He's 24. He said he's smart and he's funny. That's all we found out. We didn't get to find out what he does for a living or where he comes from. I think he's cute. He reminds me of Harrison from is it season 5? Yeah, he reminds me of Harrison from season 5, who came back I think for All Stars. So that was really cute to see. That was really cute to see. Um, and because of that, Meg then said, I can't leave the boys with nothing. So she then brought out the girl Islander. So two bombshells came out. The girl Islander is Andrea, she said, if I'm not mistaken. She is 24. She was born in Spain, but she's Dominican. And as soon as she came out, people were excited. The excitement on Ace's face, you actually had the girl say to Shirley, you need to watch this because the way Ace is too excited is not making sense given the fact that he's been pursuing you for a while. I have a feeling if Ace can get his way, he's going to try and explore that unless somebody beats him to it. Pep was excited. He was excited. I don't know how he's going to feel when he hears that she's Spanish, because he already started speaking in Spanish, and the guys had to call him out to say, no, 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 there's no cheating. There's no cheating. You have to give us all equal playing field. So I can't wait to see the fallout from the girls coming in, especially for people like Hannah, because Hannah had a sure thing with Charlie, who was really all into her. So if this man leaves, it's really going to be sad. And also for the guy, it seems he's going to have something with Iris, which I really feel sorry for Jeremiah. But at the end of the day, Jeremiah needed saving. He and Huda were very unhealthy. It's pointless to keep them or to get them to recouple. It won't make any sense. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 14. Bye guys.